So good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Helena. I'm the Executive Director for the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. And if you come on any of our webinars or you come to our in-person networking events or our specialized events, I love what the Chamber does. And it's not because of what I do, because of, I have to say this, I love to network. And I love when people join the Chamber and we get to know about their business and they come on, whether it's the in-person or the online networking, and we get to know what they do and what they specialize in, and then how it can really affect and help you grow your business, which is the Greater New York Chamber mantra. We want to help grow your business. We represent 30,000 different business and civic leaders. Now, you know what? Alex Cohen, ANC consult, became a member of the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. And all of a sudden, she started coming on our online networking. And then we get to really know, not only, you give a pitch about your business, but we get to have a fun round of asking questions. And we got really to know Alex about what she does about marketing and branding for small businesses. That is our mantra, how to grow your business. And she has some amazing tips for you today. So we're really excited about that. Just a little bit about her. She's a boutique business strategy consultant for small businesses and entrepreneurs. And you know what? She has been a keynote speaker for like unbelievable seminars, webinars. She'll probably go into it. And she just, is there to collaborate and give us tips on marketing plans and how to incorporate that into your mission to grow your business. So that's all I'm going to say. Hopefully I gave a good intro, Alex, about what you do, but we so appreciate your area of expertise on marketing and branding and how it will help businesses grow. By the way, we have a chat going on. Put your information in the chat. We have a Q&A. Will be a hard stop at 11 o'clock, but we'll do a Q&A at 10:45. If I see a question that I can incorporate in what Alex is presenting at that time, the topic, I will bring it in, but definitely put your questions in the Q&A. It will be on Chamber TV, so this is being recorded. Alex, I'm so excited. Thank you for doing this. Take it away.
Thank you. And thanks so much, Helena, and to the Chamber. Just as a member for the last several months, I'm so impressed by all that you do and all the support and resources you provide and how invested you are really in just growing and supporting all of the small businesses that are part of this community. So I'm really excited to be here. I will say I get so excited talking about this that I do tend to rush sometimes, and I'm very caffeinated, so I might talk fast. I will do my best to slow down. There's going to be some Q&A at the end, and do put your questions or comments in the chat. So as of the end of last year, there were over 33 million businesses in the US, and more than 98% of those were classified as small businesses. Why do I bring this up? Almost half of the entire US workforce is employed by a small business. In my family, both my parents and grandparents started their own businesses. My entire life, they were running them for decades, and they supported our family in the process, along with all the various team members and employees they've had over the years. So I think there's a really important role for small businesses in our community. And with this whole history of small businesses, when I finished school and it was time for me to figure out what I wanted to do, of course, I ended up going to law school. So eventually I did start my own business and started a law firm. And I was lucky that I had some amazing mentors along the way and helped me kind of figure things out. Because it's one of the things you don't really learn. And we can kind of see here, there are so many new businesses being started every year. Even 2020, with shutdowns across the US and all of the challenges, there have just been record numbers of new businesses that were started. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to identify the key profitability drivers in your business. At the end of the day, we're hopefully doing things that we love to do, but we also need it to support ourselves, our families, whatever other things that we need it to accomplish, making an impact in the community, figuring out how to keep consistent cash flow, revenue, profits is all going to be really important. I'm also going to talk a little bit about how to position your business to stand out in a crowded field. We all know that there are dozens and dozens of businesses that sound like they're doing exactly the same thing we do. And so when it's super competitive, what are the things that we can do for our businesses that will help us connect more with our kind of target clients and really just set us apart in the field? And then I'm also going to talk just a little bit about how to find revenue before spending on ads or marketing. Most of us have some kind of budget that we put into marketing, advertisements, whatever that might be, to generate leads and sales, and that's all really important. But it's also good to know things that you can do that really don't cost much or anything that really make an impact. And then through all of this, I am going to give some examples of some different businesses. Please put, again, in the chat or Q&A, and we can talk about any kind of more specifics that we have. So I'm also going to give you a spoiler before we move on. With all the key profitability drivers, the one thing that will make the single largest difference in your business is the point number 3 here, is how to position your business to stand out in a crowded field. If you don't take anything else away from this, figuring that one piece out will have the absolute biggest impact on your business, and oftentimes is shown to increase revenue by 50 to 75%. So, which sounds crazy, but it does work. So if you ever ran a Google search or talk to experts in marketing, they're all going to tell you they have their definitive key thing that will increase your profits. And it's, fill in the blank. It's whatever it is they say you need to do. And it could be, you just have to improve your SEO. You need to just, really do the digital marketing or paid ads, and that's going to drive business to you. Social media, all the different channels and platforms. Really just you need PR. You need a good PR firm, marketing agency, and that's the one thing that's going to make the difference. Or you just have to figure out how to create drip campaigns or email marketing, joint ventures, affiliates. I mean, it can go on and on, upsell, downsell, whatever it is. There's so many different things that you can do. The reality is that the key profitability drivers will be different for every business. It could be any of those things, all of those things, one of those things. You don't need to spin your wheels trying to do everything. You can have a far more effective strategy by figuring out which 1 or 2 things to focus on that will make the biggest impact and will be the best use of your time. Not one size fits all at all. Every business has different products and services, different business model, a different community that you're working with. So while one business might make a big impact by, for example, cutting costs, you can see an immediate change to your bottom line. Another business might find that SEO, improving SEO and focusing on that will translate to just lots and lots of new calls each week. So it's different with everyone. And this is just a little screenshot of a hypothetical company to show, examples of all the different areas in your business that you can look at shifting, changing, working on, whatever it might be, and how this translates into profits for your business. So this is a screenshot for a platform that I use that I license, but you can do this on your own, or, I've done this before, the software, just kind of longhand, looking at particular businesses, what their model is like, how to figure out what things are most appropriate to work on for that business, and then really plotting out what these differences might look like for that particular business and how this translates to revenue and profits. Because at the end of the day, revenue is important, but if you don't have healthy profit margins and have a kind of good handle on that, it's not going to end up translating to consistent cash flow and the ability to pay the owner, and support the business for long-term sustainable growth. So the good news is no one size fits all, no single magic wand or magic answer, which is actually a good thing because there are many different options or combination of things you can do that will make an impact. Every single business has the ability to figure this out and shift, increase profits, move the needle on business growth. And we hear a lot, spend more to make more, which is partly true, partly makes me nuts. To some extent, I think there are really some really good, smart investments that you can make in your business that will absolutely increase revenue and profits. So, for example, as you expand your team, you're building capacity, you're increasing your ability to work with more clients, you're taking tasks off your desk as the owner so that you can spend your time on the things that are most valuable for you, that only you can do. Another example is maybe hiring an SEO expert or a digital marketing agency. If it's not something that you necessarily do on your own, I'm not an SEO expert. I can't sit and figure that out on my own nearly as well as working with someone who's a specialist in that and who either can design that strategy for me or coach me through it or do something. And so there are definitely strategic, smart investments that you can make, and you should likely have some kind of budget to do that. But today I wanted to talk about the things that really don't require money or very small budget that are in fact directly linked to your business. So my first question to you is, have you ever Googled, not necessarily yourself, but your industry or your business? What does it look like when clients are trying to find you? So we know we see how many new businesses are being started. If you look at personal trainers in New York City, near me, whatever it might be, I get a whole bunch of things popping up in Google. I looked at construction or contractors on Long Island, again, lots and lots of different options. And this is what your prospective clients are seeing when they're trying to find the business or person they want to work with. Some more examples. We've got more contractors in New Jersey and graphic designers in Manhattan. So there are always just a lot of different options out there for your prospective customers. How do they sort through that and make their decisions? So I look at something that I call a market dominating position. This can be called a lot of different things. You might have heard this as a unique value proposition, positioning, niche, whatever it might be. It's all kind of the same idea. So I'm going to call this market dominating position for today, MDP. What is the one thing that makes you different and stand out from the crowd? If I ask you today what that is, are you able to, do you know what that is? And do you have messaging and marketing that really highlights what makes you different and unique and best fit for certain people? A lot of my conversations with small business owners, you may be surprised, you may not be surprised when I ask, who are your customers? I get things like women or, people who own apartments in New York or whatever it might be. There's this definite split in philosophy about whether you should market your business more generally. Let's appeal to as many people as we can, because then we'll increase the number of customers that we can get. The flip side is we should create a niche, because by being more specialized, we'll set ourselves apart. I think you have to pick whatever works best for you. I personally am a bigger believer in creating that niche. That's the market dominating position. This is the thing that will set you apart. And I also have strongly believe and have seen over and over that when you are able to shift your messaging, so instead of saying I work with everyone who, your messaging gets muddled. You end up seeing businesses with websites that say we're professional, we're on time, we're the lowest cost, we've been in business for 30 years. And all of those things are good and may well be true, but everyone is saying those things. And so when I'm trying to figure out which one of 6 or 10 different companies I want to work with for a particular thing, how am I going to sort through all of that? So this is my definition of a market dominating position. This is the value, this is what your customer perceives as the value that you add through any benefits or combination of benefits for your services, your products, that differentiates you from your competitors. This has to do so in a strong enough way that it makes your business the logical choice in the minds of your prospects and your customers. This makes people think, they see your message and they believe, I'd be insane not to buy from you. What that really means is, oh my gosh, you read my mind. You understood exactly what I needed right now. You understand my problem. And as I'm going forward and talking about all of this, I also want to just kind of be clear that I believe very strongly in creating value. And I think there's most of the business that I want to work with, they want to grow their business and make money, but they're also making an impact with their customers. They want to provide strong services, high value products. Really, there's a premium on long-term customer loyalty. They keep coming back because they value working with us. So that's kind of key to all of this as well. So I'm going to give a couple of examples. And the first one is for anyone who has college age kids or kids in high school who may think it would benefit the kids to work with a college admissions consultant. Let's help navigate the process. There are lots of them out there. And so as you're researching, they can help guide you through what classes to take in high school, how to work on your essay and how to prepare for interviews, all the things that are pretty much standard for pretty much all colleges at this point. But what if your high school student is focused on arts or theater, and they really want to go to an art school, and you run into another parent or a friend of yours who mentions having worked with the one person who really focuses on only working with students who are going to art schools. So this is an example, not a client of mine, but this is a really wonderful example of a college admissions consultant that created an entire business model around nothing but drama, studying art around the world. Like, this is very specific to students who are applying to art schools, whether it's visual arts, performing arts, whatever, helping them navigate submitting their artworks or portfolios. How do they handle the audition process? What are the other things that they have to do typically if they're going to be applying for art schools? And so now if you hear this and you know that your son or daughter is looking at specifically going to art schools, the first thought that would naturally pop into your head is, oh my gosh, this is exactly the person that I need to talk to. And while the reality is there might be 6 other college admissions consultants out there who can help also apply to art schools as well as liberal arts colleges or any other universities, knowing that someone has such a specific focus on drama programs is really going to set them apart and going to make you think that this is the one person who's the best fit and can most work with you and your children. So that's one way that you can create this market dominating position, this niche, where you're really speaking directly to the people that you want to be working with. Another example is, you see the blue box, right? Pops in your head. Tiffany, it's been around since 1830 something. It's iconic. It's these beautiful old school designs. When you open their website or walk into their store, you know exactly what their jewelry is going to look like. And there's a huge appeal to that very specific market. It's more exclusive. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. It's going to be very specific designs that are recognizable between the jewelry itself and the box. And it has a certain association to all of this. And so there's going to be a group of people out there that Tiffany is going to be the exact right place when they're thinking about engagements, graduation gifts, whatever it might be, that this is where they're going to go. And it's going to be their first thought. And also, I'm just going to say that as I'm talking about different positioning for different businesses, I don't think any one is better or worse than any others. I think that everyone has the ability to create this positioning that sets you apart. It's going to be unique to you and your business, and will appeal to exactly the right community and clients that you're looking for. So we've got Tiffany, old school, iconic designs, but we have someone out there who's going to propose to their girlfriend, and they really just want this one-off unique design. And so maybe instead of Tiffany, they come across another jewelry company called Inner Expressions. This is a run by now a 3rd generation jewelry designer. And their entire motto is, if you can dream it, let us create it. These are these unique designs that are going to be specific to the one person who comes in. And it might be collaborating on the design, reviewing it, improving it, and going through that whole process. It might be looking at some family heirlooms and kind of redesigning, repurposing it. Whatever it might be, it's a completely different message, and it's a different feeling you get when you look at this. And so for someone who wants to be part of this creative process and create this one-off piece of beautiful jewelry that's specific for whoever they're gifting this to, or buying it for themselves to celebrate something, this is going to be the exact right person and business to go to. For someone else, it's, I want that, Elsa Peretti heart or whatever it might be at Tiffany, and that's going to be the right thing for them. But the messaging is going to be direct and targeted to the people that you want to be reaching. So it doesn't get kind of lost in all of that. So this all sounds great, but you might be thinking, okay, easier said than done. How do I now go and actually create this market position? So I have 5-step process to do this, and it's pretty straightforward. With time, I mean, I could talk about this honestly all day, but with the time constraints, I'm going to keep this kind of high level. I did include that little QR code. I have a guide with the 5-step process that I created specifically for this chamber and for anyone attending. And I'd love to, you can download that through the QR code and look through it a little bit more carefully in more detail and help kind of go back and guide you step by step on how to create this. And so hopefully that will be helpful to everyone. But the idea is to look at your strategic position within the market, creating that primary positioning, figuring out your business model to support that. Then there's going to be a secondary positioning that I'm going to talk about in a minute. And then it's the messaging that ties all of this together. So what do I mean with all of this? Okay, so your strategic position, that's going to be some combination of your particular skills and the unmet customer needs that you're addressing. And so going back to college admissions process, if you have the consultant, you're the consultant who really knows art schools in and out, you know what they're looking for. It's really subjective, but you can help prospective students there navigate that process. You have those skills that are particularly suited to that market. And then you have the students who need help specifically with drama schools and figuring out how to create a strong portfolio. What are they looking for? What is the thing that's going to make them more competitive? And so when you start putting together those pieces, then you start getting that positioning and where you fit best into that particular market. As you do that, you're then going to create your primary position. That's the thing that differentiates you. What do your clients most value about working with you? You might already have some familiarity with this. You know what your clients want, and you're able to create the position that differentiates you from others. If you're not quite sure, you have a bunch of great clients and a steady stream of customers, but not quite sure how they found you. Really easy to figure this out, honestly, just by asking. It could be anything from calling up someone that you've worked with for a few years and asking for 5 minutes of their time in a chat, asking what they value most about you. It's looking at testimonials you've gotten. You're going to find, as you're reading through things people have said about you, you're going to find some common threads about why they keep working with you and why they're referring other people. If you don't have testimonials, really easy to set up a Google business account or to do to create a process where you're doing outreach to your clients when you finish working with them and asking for testimonials. But that actually is going to end up replicating your message to others. That's going to be the thing that you're going to figure out what those common threads are and really start honing in on that. And that's how we get into the messaging, which is, of course, the last step. The business model. Do you have your business structured to support your services and product delivery and to support the thing it is that sets you apart? So just to go back 1 second, the thing that sets you apart could be a lot of different things or combinations of things. It will almost never be price. If you are looking to acquire new customers by being the least expensive option around, it's not a sustainable strategy. You might get a few customers initially that come in, but you're not going to engender customer loyalty. People who are making decisions solely based on price are always going to look for the next lowest priced product. It's a downward spiral. It's just not sustainable. There are ways to adjust price to create value, and sometimes you are going to do discounts or sales or preferential offers. But typically, your entire positioning will not be around that solely. But let's say your business model is around delivery time, that you are producing whatever it is you do in a very short turnaround. Maybe that's business, a business broker who helps sell existing businesses. It might be construction firm, building houses in short-ish turnaround times, whatever it might be, do you have the resources now to support that strategic position? If your positioning is based on delivery and timing, do you have a team and staff that can actually fulfill those orders? If your positioning is that you do one particular thing better than others, do you have the team that has those skills that can fulfill those? So there are a lot of different ways to look at this, but the idea is to figure out whether you've aligned your resources to support your strategic positioning. And then you have that sort of secondary positioning. What are some of the additional benefits? Typically, a market dominating position is created when you have a business that has a combination of different benefits that are kind of packaged together. And your customers may not even quite see that these are kind of distinct things. They might kind of look at this as a combination, but it ends up really creating, that combination creates exponential value to the customers. And then finally, it's messaging. None of this will do you any good if you're not communicating all of this to your community. So the idea here is to be clear, concise, and consistent. This is across all channels. Once you figure out your positioning and your business model and your kind of primary, secondary MDPs, like positioning, everything else becomes so much easier. And that's why I say, like, the key to all of this is the MDP. It's spending the time in the beginning tweaking that and honing that, and then everything else becomes so much easier. So when you're struggling to write marketing content, social media, blog posts, LinkedIn notes, you're going to networking events like the Chamber, we have an opportunity to introduce ourselves to lots of other businesses and create relationships. If someone asks, what do you have that 20 or 30-second introduction that wraps all of this up? I think it's totally fine when you say, I'm a business consultant, but in a 30-second conversation, no one's going to remember what I do. But if I'm able to position myself that I help small businesses increase revenue and profits by creating a unique positioning to help them stand out in a crowded field, that might end up actually striking more chords. And so having the ability to sum all of this up in a concise and consistent and clear way will resonate much more. And then as you're working with, marketing agencies or in-house or writing material yourself, it's just going to be so much easier. And so this sounds like a lot. And I've been going through a lot of the different material on how to do this. Like I said, there's the QR code, so you can kind of get a little bit more information about how these steps really break down. But it sounds like a lot. There's some good news. The last kind of point that I wanted to talk about is how this all ties in to finding revenue for your business. And I think in one of the bullet points in the beginning, it was actually how to find revenue before spending on ads and marketing. And a big part of this is the positioning. But this is kind of back to the slide that I had earlier, there are a lot of different things that you can do once you have your positioning that can increase your profitability. And the positioning and the messaging will then carry over into pretty much all of these things. So what are you currently doing to generate leads for your business? Are you looking at your positioning and the clients that you've worked with and figuring out what they value about working with you in order to then increase your kind of target market and your messaging to have more of those initial leads? Do you focus on those strategic partnerships with other businesses out there? Are you creating alliances and joint ventures? Again, these are things that really don't cost money aside from, the time to build these relationships, to maybe attend networking events, that kind of thing. But how do you figure out who's a good fit? There might be 10 or 15 options in your local community of other businesses, for example, that do work for similar clients, but aren't doing exactly what you do. And if you're able to kind of tap into those kinds of partnerships, ventures, whatever you want to call them, you can really increase both your leads and increase the conversion rates and really increase your sales. But how do you evaluate them? So if you have those 10 or 15 potential partnerships, going back and looking at your positioning, I think really will help filter out who's a good fit for you.
Alex, I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 second and add something to this. We talk about this at the Chamber. You're, and you hit a really good point here. When you go to a networking event or you go to any type, collaboration, when you see someone that we say in your lane, we talk about this at the chamber, don't think that that person is your competitor. That could be your next lead generator or a company that can, sign a contract with you. Because they might, what you hit on, and my hair is sticking up. So I'm so glad that you said that, because a lot of people, if let's say I call it, cybersecurity, you're in cybersecurity and you meet someone in that area, that person might get a client that they can't service. And they want to know that, if they meet a person like yourself, very professional and has that expertise, they will refer you. And it's, and I see that more and more in the last 2 to 3 years. People like to collaborate with people in their same industry. So don't think that that person is your competitor. Plus, we talk about, and Alex talked about, collaboration for government contracts also. They want to see you collaborate. So I just wanted to stick my, my 2 cents in. Great point right there. Sorry about that, but I just wanted to emphasize that.
No, please do. And I talk about competition in terms of standing out from the competition, and that's all true. But again, my personal philosophy is completely aligned with what Helena said. There can be a bunch of people who do exactly what I do, but we're really not doing exactly the same thing. We're not working with the same people. Even if we are doing the exact same thing, there's plenty of business to go around, and there's going to be times that I don't have availability or I don't focus on a particular thing. I've been doing this kind of business strategy consulting for like 5 years now. I had a law practice for 15 years before that. And some of my favorite people to meet were other attorneys practicing either other areas of law or the same area of law that I did. Some of my best referrals were from other attorneys in the same field as me, who either had, for example, a conflict, or they didn't have availability for something, or we were in a different county, or whatever it was. I love opportunities to collaborate. I think there are so many out there. And I think when you don't look for those, or, talk to other people within your field, I think you're missing some amazing opportunities out there. So all of that's really important. I think, so all of these different things that you can do to kind of move the lever on your own business growth. But it's really overwhelming, right? Because again, you're back to, oh my gosh, there are 40 different things I can do. I need to do all of them. So the good news is that you don't have to do all of it. This is a screenshot, again, with a hypothetical business that I kind of plugged in some annual revenue of 250,000 and some profit margins, and across 12 different areas. What would it look like if we had a less than a 1.5% impact in each of these different areas? So these really tiny incremental changes. Over time, making these changes, you actually end up with a profit impact that well over doubles the profit that you are seeing at the end of the day. You're realizing on this. And again, this is something with like profit margins of, 80 gross, 10 net, I think. So it's pretty conservative. And what would then happen if you look at one area and you cut it a little bit more than that 1.5%? Over time, incremental changes are just going to keep compounding. So they're going to build one after the next. And you can kind of just take your time to figure out, I like to work with businesses and get to know them. And I like to figure out that while all of these things might be kind of standard ways that you can implement these things, these strategies, it's going to be different and look different for every business. And while one might really benefit from cutting costs, they're really spending on things that aren't directly impacting the services that they're producing. Maybe there's some subscriptions out there or different things that you don't need to spend on. That's going to have an almost immediate impact on your bottom line. For another business, it might be figuring out how to package and bundle your services so that it increases the perceived value to your clients. The overall pricing might be less than if they were purchasing items individually, but it doesn't cost you more in terms of your margin, and it actually increases your profits over time. So figuring out these kind of one or two things that you can do will really move the needle. You can look at creating new products and services, especially during 2020 when things shut down. There was a lot of pressure for people to figure out, well, now what am I going to do? How can I provide value and serve my community? What do they need now? How am I going to change to serve that? And it could be providing options for online purchasing that maybe you didn't do before, or you didn't really optimize. There was a really interesting collaboration when restaurants and bars had shut down and were really hit hard and were just starting to open up. And I think this was a particular example on Long Island. I can't remember now, but I'm sure others have done this, where there were restrictions on, I think it was serving alcohol. So if you served food, you could reopen partially. But if you were a bar that strictly served alcohol, you couldn't. And there were some amazing partnerships between a bar that was primarily, alcohol, didn't serve food, and like a local restaurant that served a bunch of things, but could provide, for example, a large supply of empanadas to the bar. And so by adding food items onto the menu, they were able to open back up to a greater extent. They supported the other restaurant by purchasing some of their food items from them, and they were able to kind of serve the community better. And there are just so many examples of how, through collaborations with other businesses, how to create those kinds of alliances or kind of joint programs or referrals. You can increase the value of your products. You can figure out how to tap into, past clients by reminding them of, new services you have. You might launch something new altogether and need to kind of figure out how to position that within your suite of what you're already doing. Or you might be looking at entering new markets. Whatever it is, you can look at these strategies to create your positioning and figure out how that sets you apart and how you can maximize your messaging and your impact on your particular audience. So you might be kind of narrowing down the people you're working with, but you're reaching so many more of them by talking to them directly that you end up actually increasing your business significantly, increasing how you're able to help people and work with them, and all of these other wonderful things. And so two things to leave today with. If there's nothing else, it's two things that you can do really quickly today. Start figuring out more focused marketing. Like, how do you stand out in your field? It could be, a SWOT analysis. It could be looking at testimonials. It could be just looking at your website. If you're not generating new clients from your website, then you might need to update some of your content and copy. And this is pretty easy to do, really just kind of setting yourself apart. And then figuring out the effective business model. How do you support the business growth to now accomplish the thing that you're providing to all of your customers? Do you need more resources? Do you need to hire? Do you need to, figure out, make sure that people who are on your team have the right skills? Is it, sometimes it could also be business owners, even with a team, are trying to do everything in the business. They're doing all the emails, they're doing all of the administrative things, they're doing their bookkeeping and taxes and everything else. And all of these things are important. But sometimes even finding someone to come in as a part-time bookkeeper can save you hours a week, or figuring out how to automate emails to your clients can save you hours a week. So there are a lot of options for how you can create that business model to support everyone. And it's a lot of content, but that's what I have for everyone today. And I see that there's a bunch of things in Q&A and in chat. Strategic, so people, Helene and I have talked about strategic alliances, growing your business into new markets, or developing an edge over a competitor through effective partnerships. Yes, I think strategic alliances is something that I'm a huge fan of, because like I said, I've had my own businesses, but I love collaborating. I love working on teams. I love figuring out how I can help provide more value to the people that I work with. And so I think that's a huge thing. I think it's a missed opportunity for a lot of people. And I think it's an easy way to get, not to go after clients one by one, which takes time and money, but you can end up with these strategic partnerships where you're now exposed to a whole number of new people and have a steady stream of new referrals. What is my—
Alex? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Someone wanted to know as you can tell, I'm in my office. What is the best way to get clients in 2023? Everyone had, now that it's, everyone's back to, pretty much in person. or the collaboration is more and more. What would you say is the best way to get your business in 2023? What's the number one thing that comes to your mind?
Relationships. That's the first word that
Okay.
pops in. I think digital marketing, SEO, that's all important. And most of us really need to do all of that. But I think at the end of the day, it's about relationships. It's like, I think all of us are just inundated, especially now. Everything's online. We're on Zoom all day long. We're getting a million things, scrolling through our social media feeds. I think when you think of your business in terms of relationships instead of transactional, I think it shifts how you start messaging. I think it shifts how you start talking to people. And I think it helps you, I want someone to grab my attention when I'm scrolling through. There's always going to be that one thing. You've got like a fraction of a second when you're skimming through Facebook or whatever. I mean, it's insane. I might stop when it's the person that I follow and I trust. So it's that know, like, trust, right? Once you build that up, if there's someone that I trust and I follow and I always love their content, I will stop on them every single time. If it's messaging that really speaks to me and resonates, that's the thing that's going to grab my attention. And a lot of times it's not, again, it's not I have the cheapest product or I'm professional, because all of us are professional, hopefully. But it's like, you understand my problem. You understand the thing that I'm looking for today as I'm scrolling through this list of messaging. And it might not be the thing I need right this second, but in a month when I need this, I'm going to remember that and go back to it.
So the question I have for you is, I get this for the chamber. There, like I said, you said there's so many social media platforms. You have so much time during the day. So, when you're on Facebook, do you, you like the person, your client, you collaborate with them. What do you suggest? Picking up the phone once a week and sitting there saying, "What can I do for you?" Or is it more on sending an email? What is that more one-on-one interaction that we can grab that client or that potential client for right now?
Yeah, any of those things. I think, some of us really miss seeing people in person. And so, every week I make a point of meeting someone for lunch or coffee or something. And we can just sit at a table and just talk for even half an hour or an hour, whatever it is, if you have the time for it. Some people who are just super busy really don't want to pick up the phone and be interrupted, but sending an email saying, "Hey, I haven't talked to you in a while, would love to know what you're up to, what's going on. Let's schedule a call." Like, I love Calendly. It saves me time because I don't have to go back and forth with a million emails to schedule it. So for me, it's so easy to just sit and schedule, and my calendar is there and you can book a time and it pops up in my email. And I got to tell you, when it's not someone that I've been talking to and I get the email saying someone scheduled a 30-minute call with you, it honestly just makes me happy.
Oh,
So I think
good.
it's all of those things.
I have questions are coming in the chat. My company, this is interesting. My company uses a third party for ticket sales. How can we, or the third party, contact them with a connection and asking for reviews? Is asking for reviews a good thing or a bad thing? Because it's a double-edged sword that if they don't say anything positive, it's out there. So what's your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think always asking for reviews is always a good thing. I think, every once in a while you might get something that's not great. I've seen ones where you've got like a million 5 stars and the 1 star, and the business owner will respond to that. I think if you're consistently providing good value, you're going to more likely get the consistent good reviews. And I think, I got to say, like, I learned this from one of my professional colleagues. When we reach out, so asking for reviews should be part of your business process. Like, I love marketing, but I also love operations, and creating the systems to ask for reviews it's an easy thing to do. Once you get it set up, you don't even have to think about it, but you ask for a 5-star review. I really enjoyed, we just finished this project. I really enjoyed working with you. I'd really love to ask if you were happy with our work. I would love to ask you for a 5-star review. Here's a link to my Google business, or, whatever it is that they can post right on there, or LinkedIn. And just as a reminder, here are 3 questions. Like, we worked on XYZ project. Did we accomplish your goal? And what was the result? Or something. You put like 2 or 3 little quick questions so you can jog them and to make it easier. I've seen some people do video testimonials and request that. And video helps with algorithms for things. Like, some people like being on video, some don't, but that could be an easy, like, "Hey, can you just do a 30-second video and just tell people why you liked working with me. So
Good
always
answer.
leave a review.
For how long should business owners invest in marketing during slow season or nonstop?
I think always, but the budget and the things you're investing in might change. I think actually one of the workshops I did recently was how to navigate a down economy. And so, right, we've been hearing about recession and inflation and all of these things. And I think what a lot of business owners do is, and it's natural, like you react by, oh my gosh, things are not going well economically. I'm cutting my budget for marketing, or I'm going to, I want to cut expenses. And certainly cutting expenses overall might be a good thing, but I think cutting marketing entirely is a huge mistake. I think time and again, there are businesses that you might want to tweak what you're doing with your marketing and be a little bit more strategic about it. But it's going to be harder if you cut it all together to bring back, to get back to the level that you're at. You're going to end up cutting off your opportunity for long-term client loyalty. It's going to be hard to rebrand. It's going to hurt your brand. I think there should always be marketing. How much you spend and what you're doing might be different.
And there's, you know what, and the purpose of me bringing Alex on, that, you know what, a lot of the marketing and social media, which you have to, allow so much time during the day that you don't get overwhelmed, is free. And it's very important. So, it's, I like what you said. I wrote it down, Alex. You pick, what is a good fit? What is the good fit for your business? Which social media platform is driving your business, and concentrate on that. I love that. A couple more questions. How often should someone update their business plan or create or reevaluate it?
So
It's a
I
hard
like,
question. Yeah.
yeah, no, I like that question actually, because I think business plans for me, I love working on that with people. Where I get frustrated is where people get this wonderful detailed 10, 20 page document and then stick it in a drawer and never look at it. I think a business plan is a living document. I think it doesn't have to be 10, 20 pages. I look at it as more of a management tool. So having it as a roadmap and having it be streamlined, the information that's relevant to your business. And I think you should be looking at it regularly, because things are going to change. Things are going to happen. Your customers are going to change. You're going to offer new services. Things are going to happen in the economy and in the kind of environment that will impact your business. And you need to have the ability to kind of adjust, react, and plan ahead. And the business plans are the framework to build that kind of resilience. And like, talk to mentors or friends or colleagues at the chamber and have someone look at it. And when you're in a tough spot, get feedback from people. So.
Thank you. Quick question. I don't know if you covered this. They're asking you specifically, what is your competitive positioning?
So I joke that it's easier to help other people do it than to do it for myself. But what I really focus on is working with small businesses to identify the key drivers of their profitability in the right order for their business in order to create revenue and profits and long-term growth.
Nice. Hold on. Someone asked, is email marketing dead? It's, you know what? We use content. I just want to say from the chamber, that's how we communicate. Email marketing is how you got this information that Alex was putting on this webinar. So I really don't think that email marketing is dead. Alex will comment on it. However, I want to tell a story. There is someone that is a member of the chamber, I won't use names, that sends an email. We send emails almost every day for events, but they send an email that is like, you have to scroll down 3 pages and it's just the same old, same old, same old. And you can't unsubscribe. It's their personal email to them. You know what? You have to really check what you're sending if you're doing an email marketing campaign. Alex, I don't know if you get the email that I'm talking about. However, maybe you can elaborate on that.
If I did, I probably replied and asked them to unsubscribe me, and I might have pointed out that they're violating the, FTC guidelines that you have to have an unsubscribe in there. You don't want to spam people. I mean, that's just going to annoy people. You're not going to create business from that. But I do agree that email is valuable. I think you can provide content in there. I know some people like it's not necessarily the thing that will drive business for every business, but I know, I've got friends that are amazing at email marketing and they reach out and might be a one-on-one like, hey, what are you up to? Are you using, do you currently have someone for X? Can I help you with any challenges? It could be a newsletter that provides content. Clear, concise, consistent. That's what I keep saying. It's just you got to provide value to your customers.
Sounds, someone just asked, for the small business owner, what are the 3 must-dos for marketing each day? Good question. I like that.
I love that.
It's almost like, you for people that get up and they meditate in the morning or they write in their journal. This is, what's the 3 must-dos for marketing each day? This is a good one.
I think it's, figuring out who are you talking to? How do you reach them most effectively? And what is it that you're providing to them? And so everything with marketing should be around that framework. And it's really community client centered. Like there are 10 things that I might do, but only 2 of them are things that really move the needle for my clients. And at the end of the day, I'm doing this because I love seeing other small businesses grow. I don't care whether that's through digital marketing, emails, social media, whatever, but I love it when businesses grow, they get those light bulb moments of the next big thing that they want to do. And having the marketing around those kind of 3 questions is going to really help you clear away the clutter, because we don't want as business owners to be overwhelmed and running our business 24 hours a day either. So we want to kind of streamline and do the things that really make the biggest impact.
Right. Also, you know what? A suggestion is, if you have a goal that there is one, type of business that you want to connect with, write it down. Every day I want to just, whether it's through LinkedIn or you go to their website and just introduce yourself. A lot of, a lot of websites have, contact us. That information, put it out there. Just sit there and introduce yourself. It can't hurt. You never know who's going to read it, and they might just sit there and say, yes, that's a good introduction. You make that, at that introduction, because you might not be able to get that person on the phone to return your call. So I like that, Alex. Thank you so much. Someone, we have 7 minutes left. Hard stop at 11. Someone asked, how did law school help you become a better marketer? And I'm bringing up the tone because it is a question. And did it?
Yeah, it definitely did. So I was a litigation attorney and I was working in a very high conflict area of law. Where it helps me now with marketing is I do marketing and operations to the extent that I really love, I talked about roadmap. I really like being able to figure out the strategy. I like the puzzle pieces. I like figuring out how they all fit together. And a lot of it too is with high conflict litigation. I loved being in court and on trial, but I also had to, my entire practice philosophy was that the majority of my clients were going to be better off with a settled resolution than litigated. So we would prepare for trial, but we were kind of negotiating the entire time as we went along. And where that helps is kind of sussing out, people will say one thing, but will mean something else. And so figuring out messaging and marketing, a lot of the times it's not about me saying I do X, Y, Z. It's about figuring out what the other person actually wants and needs. Like they're saying that, oh my God, I haven't been on vacation in for my business clients, I haven't taken a vacation in 3 years. Well, okay, it's vacation, but it's about I'm overwhelmed and I'm working 20 hours a day and I haven't had any time to do anything else other than run my business. And so how do we create marketing that leverages the things that they're really good at and their messaging? And then on the operation side, how do we automate and operationalize it so that they're not doing the things, like all of the things all of the time?
Love it, love it, love it. So you know what, just to summarize everything, on August 3rd, we do have a webinar with the SBA on how to get government contracts. Alex talks about collaboration. Join us on there because Manly Lynn from the SBA talks about that and how important it is when you're getting a government contract and how to do that. They want you to collaborate with people that are in what we call it your same lane. Also networking, this Wednesday, this Tuesday, 10 o'clock online. So so in the comfort of your, home or your business, join us on Tuesday. Alex is, a regular on there. We have a lot of fun, 10 to 11, it's online networking. This Wednesday, we have a power networking lunch in person. And that's at Nomadlands. They are a member of the chamber. They are hosting it. It's in Times Square, complimentary for our members. If you're not a member and you would like to join us for lunch, then you will have the opportunity to do that. You'll get, make some really great connections. So these are, if you're looking for that online in-person networking, and also how to get government contracts on August 3rd, we have that webinar. Alex, close it up. Thank you again so much for your time, your expertise. It was really so informative. By the way, this is being recorded on Chamber TV. And Alex, take it away. Close it out.
Just thank you everyone for your time today. I really appreciate it, and really just can't emphasize all of the wonderful programs and support that the Chamber provides through connecting people, creating those opportunities for collaboration, providing support, skills training, all of it. Really just take advantage of whatever you can and have time for through the Chamber. So thank you so much everyone for today.
Thank you so much, Alex. Everyone that joined us, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're one day away from a weekend. Everyone stay cool and be, just keep in contact with the Chamber. We're here to grow your business, provide as much information to do that. If you have any questions, info@chamber.nyc, or just contact me, Helena, with an A, not an E, Helena@chamber.nyc. And for those who are members of the Chamber, I keep on emphasizing that. Alex talked about branding and marketing. Part of being a member is you get that 30-word promo every single month. That helps with SEO. That helps with getting your name out into the business community and will help your business grow. So again, thank you so much, Alex. Everyone have a great day. What a great way to start the day. And if you guys get any business and change your, pivot with the information Alex gave you today, reach out to Alex and myself. Love to hear that feedback. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye, Alex.